Hey everybody, Ian Lee here. Hope y'all are doing well. In today's video, we're going to talk about breaking up chords and moving these ideas through chord scales. Specifically, I'm going to play with breaking up chords in the C major 6 diminished scale, which is one of Barry Harris's scales of chords. And then I'll create a line or show you a line that I've created and some ideas to play with all of this stuff in terms of putting it into a musical context, which I think is always fun and is always a great idea. So let's just go ahead and dive in. You can do this thing with chords that's really fun. Again, we're going to be looking at C major 6 diminished, but you can apply this to anything. You can do it over just a regular major scale, a melodic minor scale, harmonic minor, whatever you want to mess with, okay? And in this instance, we're going to be breaking it up into really two sets of sixths is what it works out to be. We've got two major sixths there that make for this major 6 chord. Same thing with this diminished chord, two sets of major sixth intervals that make for this diminished chord. Okay, and we can do this up the entire scale. Oh, I don't like to finger it like that. Sorry. That's the fingering I like. And then this one's a little tricky for me still. Plus I'm up here, this is my 12th fret. I don't have a cutaway here, so you guys can go higher if you want. So we can do this with any chord scale. Again, so if I just did it with good old C major, I could do, and then I could go, and then on and on and on. And there's a lot that can be gained from this. It's a great technical exercise for your left hand and for your right hand. And I think it can make for some really different music. If you watched my last video, I'm getting these ideas from Jimmy Weibel. Now, not to say that there aren't other guitar players who have thought of this or have done this, but he's really the inspiration behind breaking up these scales in these different ways. There's a lot of ways to do all this, but let's stay focused on what we're working on. So we're playing through C major 6 diminished like this, and we've just warmed up a little bit. We've got some movement under our hands, the idea of how this is all going to flow. Now, instead of just thinking of C major 6 diminished over a C major chord, I'm actually going to think of it against F major 7 or F major. And the idea being there, if you're not familiar with this concept, is what Barry calls the 6 on the 5th. Or I don't know if he ever called it that, but that's what I've heard other people call it. It's the 6 on the 5th. You're playing a major 6 chord based off the 5th degree. So if I play F, its 5th scale degree is C. Then I can play a major 6 chord based off of that, and it makes for an F major 9. So you can get this kind of movement going on, a really classic movement within the kind of Barry Harris people who play within his ideas. It's really a great little thing. Now let's take it a little further and play with this breaking up of the chords idea. Okay, we'll play with breaking up these chords into these sixths. So again, I'm thinking through C major 6 diminished. I'm going to play this first, and I'm just going to go up horizontally here. I'm not going to go across string sets yet, at least. So I'm going to play the first sixth right there, and then I'm actually going to go to the diminished of this sixth. So instead of going, I'm just going up the scale so far, and then I'm going to come to this first inversion C major 6, and I'm going to play like this. Okay, so I took this idea of going, okay, but what I did is I broke it up and I played it in the opposite direction. So again, that first chunk is, sorry. Okay, now what to do from here? Well, what I noticed as I was playing with all this is like, well, if I would just move this upper note on my G string, that's a C, if I would move it to C sharp, then I'm on the diminished that belongs to F. So now I'm creating this idea of that I'm moving to F. Okay? So let's look at that so far. I've got, okay? And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and reach up to this note, which is part of this F major 6 shape here. Okay, that's the third degree actually, specifically of the chord. So I'm going, and I slide both of these up a half step to get the F6 just broken. Okay, so instead of a full chord, I've just got this little chunk of the chord. And I actually like to play these chord voicings a lot like that, where they're kind of these broken voices. It allows me to have a finger freeze, so if I want to move some stuff around, I can create some melodies on top of these chord voices. So if I have, I actually like to hold that, so let me do that again. And you've got this kind of holding of voices in different places. You've got some really cool stuff that happens here. Now, as I was playing with this some more, it was actually just maybe last night or earlier today, I was thinking, it's still kind of a bulky movement. It's not bad or anything. It's just a little chunky. So I was thinking, well, how can I just simplify it just a little more to make it a little cleaner? And I realized, well, that A right there, I can play that right here. And then what I can do is just play, excuse me, I did that wrong. Just ba, ba. So I'm playing that A to C major 6's first diminished, if we were playing the scale in order from the root chord, root and the bass that is. Okay? Root inversion, I guess. I don't know how you would say that. But anyways, so I'm going, and you see it contains it in kind of a smaller vicinity, and that way you can actually play it more across this one string set for more periods of time. Again, some of you have more neck space than I do, so I try to think about things like that. And of course, you can move it to different string sets, which is always a great thing to do. It's helpful. It gets you to think. One of my students calls putting things on the B string the warp zone. So you can get to think in the warp zone a little more. Sorry. So right there, and that's like playing through the C major 6 diminished scale up to F major, and playing through the F major 6 diminished scale, creating that 6 on the 5th kind of sound. So let's go ahead and move this into another string set. I'll go ahead and change the let's change it and think over G. So now we're thinking over G6, okay? Still with the same idea, we're breaking these into the same 6, but I'm going to move it into a different string set. And because of that, I'm going to move down up here. So I'll start here, still playing the 6th interval that belongs on the 5th degree. So it's like I'm thinking in D major 6 diminished now. So I'm going. Again, I felt like that movement, it's just a little bulky. It's not bad. It's not that with some practice you can't get it. But again, just try to simplify things, create a little more elegance to it. So I thought, okay, same thing. I can. And this, again, is just a broken version of this major 6 shape here. All right, so I'll play that all one more time. Let me clean that up. That's sloppy. Fun stuff, right? And then so now I'm practicing my scales of chords in 6th, but I'm thinking about it very differently. It kind of opens some things up because of playing with some of Jimmy Weibel's ideas and his ideas of breaking chords up. Something he does in his first etude, he plays this C flat 13, flat 5 by going. I just think that's so cool, and I guess it actually gets, that's the 7 in there. Sorry. And you can move any of these ideas around the scales of chords, and really, again, any chord scale. There's a lot of stuff to be explored here. So anyways, I hope that inspired some ideas for y'all. Of course, as always, when I post on my channel, I want to show the things that I'm working on to y'all in the hopes that you'll take it and make your own thing out of it, which is exactly what you should do. I think that's the goal for all of us as we share and explore all these wonderful ideas in music. Okay, I'll talk to y'all very soon. Have a great rest of your day.